You'll have been recruited by the Star Leader to defend the frontier in your Star Lord and the
Dans notre au quotidien, ces châtaignes au
Look in my eyes, what do you see? The cult of personality. I know your anger, I know your dreams. I've been everything you wanna be. Oh, I'm the cult of personality.
Welcome to episode 12 of Rebel Scum Radio. My name is Carlos. I'm joined once again by Jono.
Hello.
And Jim Bob Jones.
Hello.
So this week's
Bob Jones.
Jim Bob Jones. Looking down the run sheet tonight, boys, we've got a big show. We're going to give you your fortnightly fix of Star Wars news. We're going to talk about all things in the new novels and some rumours in episode 8. We're going to look at the latest from the DC and Marvel movie universes. A few problems down at DC and Warner Brothers at the moment.
Yeah, choking Zack Snyder.
Yeah. We also have a look at the world of artificial intelligence as an AI soccer team has shown that we may not be that far from the apocalypse. We do our Captain America Civil War film review. We do a film flashback to the last Starfighter, which we've all watched this week. We thought we'd do a little bit of a flashback there. And I think
Nice and fresh.
we are going in fresh. And
I'm fresh.
we look at why it's bad business to dry your balls in Iceland.
Was that another attempt at segueing? Last Starfighter, ball drying?
No. They just go hand in hand. Now, we'll start off by mentioning a few things. We've got a website, rebelscumradio.com. We're posting up a few articles and things. We've posted up a couple of new things in the comedy section this week, which you should check out.
Don't watch it at work, though.
Yeah, one of them's not safe for work, so
And
just warning you now.
Make sure your kids are out of the room, yeah.
Yes. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter.
I got 69 reasons why they shouldn't watch that.
Whoa. Wow, that's how the podcast is starting. Yeah, wow. Only downhill from here. Yeah, so you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and keep in touch with all of our musings during the week. And you're probably listening to this podcast now, but if you want to tell your friends about it, tell them it's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. Now,
See.
one quick mention before we start the show. Since the last one, we've had the passing of Prince.
Yes.
So I think it's only fair that we say that he was a genius of a musician and that he'll be sadly missed.
That's what you call a musical genius, not Kanye West.
Genuine genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genuine.
How can Kanye say he's 50% more influential than Prince when he just borrowed all of his music?
I do not know. I do not know, but I haven't been able. I've been listening to the best of Prince and like.
And I watched Purple Rain again.
Amazing stuff. You watched Purple Rain the film?
I'm playing a 1 hour tribute set at Suki Lounge this Friday night.
Is it going to be all
Is that
Prince?
before Tim Rogers or after Tim Rogers?
After Tim Rogers.
After Tim Rogers.
Is it
That'd
all-
be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All, all
I've-
Prince?
All Prince for 1 hour. Yeah.
All Prince. A Prince-a-thon.
Yeah.
That'd be a hell of a night.
Why don't you cleanse your
Controversy.
soul in the waters of Lake Minnetonka?
You know what song I don't?
Damn the khaki ball.
I don't have the only song I don't have though is Sexy MF.
I've got
realised that's not on the best of.
Are you doing this off vinyl or off?
No,
or of USB?
I've converted to USB. So
to USB.
I have.
Are you going to close with Purple Rain?
I was thinking of probably ending with a banger to get everyone dancing, as
banger?
opposed to a
1999.
sully, sad
1999.
No, yeah. Do grab like a Dave Guetta remix of Prince.
No, none of that. Oi, mate, oi, DJ, you got any Guetta?
Yeah,
David Guetta?
yeah.
He was one of the greatest guitarists of all time too.
He's great at everything almost of all time.
You guys should go and
better than Michael Jackson.
get on YouTube and check out the tribute to George Harrison. My Guitar Gently Weeps. and he plays the solo at the end.
Oh, really?
Ah.
I haven't seen that.
Best solos ever.
I would
One
check
of,
that
one of my favorite house music records has a sample through the whole track
out. Yeah.
of an interviewer asking Prince questions in the song. And one of the famous bits from the song is I bet you've got in your secret vault nothing but magic, and then the magic bits like looped over and over again. But it was like that was a classic like late early 2000s song for us back in the day.
Yeah.
That was like our favorite jam back in the
Nice.
day.
Nice. So rest in peace, Prince.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Yes. But now onto something a bit more upbeat and happy. We have a couple of Star Wars novels that have come out that have leaked some information out there, which is pertinent to the current Star Wars universe. The first one is Star Wars Bloodline, which features Princess Leia as like its central character and kind of goes through how she broke away from the rebellion to go into the resistance.
Is this to fall in line with the new canon?
Yes. Also goes through some of the seeds of the First Order. You'll get hints as to how it all kind of came to be.
Bit of Snoking?
Yeah.
Bit of Snoke?
Yeah.
Snoke?
Yeah. Oh, well, it doesn't say anything about any Snoke. So
What about Snorks? And Smurfs? Smurfs, Snorks, and
I think
Snokes.
it goes through their actual motives. As to
Hey, I love Snorks. Don't knock the Snorks.
Snorks.
The greatest cut-ins of our generation, all time.
Yeah, and also like, it also goes through Han and Leia's relationship, which really didn't know what happened in Force Awakens as to why they.
She hooked up with Lando.
That's not in the book.
You truly do belong here in my bedroom. Amongst the clouds.
Yeah. They also introduced a couple of new characters called Joff and Greer.
Joffrey.
Joffrey. That's a bit too close to Game of Thrones. Come
Joff's
on.
the New Republic pilot, and Greer is Leia's his personal assistant. So they kind of go on this adventure with Princess Leia. So that's pretty good. Ryan Johnson actually had some input into this book. So it'll be interesting to see what tie-ins there are into the new movies that come out.
Yep.
And there's also some big revelations throughout the book in regards to Darth Vader. When you look at the cover of the book, you can see Leia's on the front, but he's actually in the background, obviously Leia's father.
Yep.
And I think throughout this book, the universe finds out the secret of Darth Vader's children and parentage and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he went on to what's that Family Tree show?
Family Tree?
Nah, you know the one all the English.
Like Family Feud?
No, you know
Give us another word for Stormtrooper. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Mops.
No, the Find My Ancestors. You know that English BBC show?
Yeah.
Do you know
where did I come from?
Yeah.
Do you know who you are? Or something?
Who
Who do you think you are?
do you think you are?
Yeah.
With Jill Singer.
Anyway,
Anyway.
let's continue on. It's got a lot to do.
Sorry, Carl.
So that's Star Wars Bloodline. That's out now, so you can grab a copy at any good bookstore, or I would probably recommend if you want to get it at a good price and get it quickly to you, go to bookdepository.com.
Yep.
They don't sponsor us, but it's just the best way to get books, in my opinion, if you want hard copy books. You can always go to Amazon and get an ebook if you want to. Force Awakens, the novel, a book based on the movie, which is just released. So this story begins with General Leia setting events in motion that lead to the recovery of the map, which we saw at the start of the film when the death squads landed and killed all the villagers.
So it just fills in a bit more of the
So
parts.
it just fills in like where that kind of came.
Yeah, that's cool.
Came from where it starts. So that's pretty good little piece of information to have. We also learn how Poe escapes from the TIE fighter crash.
Cool.
So
cool.
that's pretty cool. And there's also
what about Ray backstory? Any of that?
I will get to that. There's also an action scene involving a speeder that Poe's in. That's where he uses his pilot skills again.
In the
on Jakku.
On Jakku.
Oh.
Yeah, so pretty good stuff. Also goes into Unka Plutt, who's the junk trader who grabs Ray when she's dropped off, and also
Simon Pegg's character.
chases Simon Pegg's character and chases after the Millennium Falcon. So anyway, the story goes within the book that Plutt tracks the Millennium Falcon down to Maz Kanata's castle, And without giving too much away, it's not wise to upset a Wookiee. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that case. Ray. Ray is in the book and including a scene where I think it might have been a similar scene to what was in the extended DVD cuts, where her and Finn steal a snowspeeder. So,
the deleted scenes.
Yeah, so that kind of half-finished green screen thing that we saw. So
falling asleep.
It wasn't great. So
it just would have made the film way too long.
And in the book, there's also a moment when Ray and Kylo Ren are fighting, where in the book where she gets beckoned by the dark side of the Force. So that's not really in the film. Like when she's facing like the lightsabers and stuff, you don't really like she gets beckoned by the Force, but you don't necessarily
know if it's light or dark.
It's light or dark. Yeah. So, and during the lightsaber duel with Kylo Ren, also offers up some surprises that infers that Kylo Ren actually already knows exactly who Rey is.
Okay.
Like he already knows where she's coming, which I think was inferred throughout the movie anyway. He always got super upset.
Every time they said, the girl's on the ship.
Girl, like he always, like he knew. Yeah. So I think they may just pad out that stuff that wasn't really explained throughout the film. So that's Force Awakens novels out now too. Same place again, Book Depository or Amazon if you're looking for an ebook. Check those out. Now, another piece of Star Wars merchandise that's come out. This is kind of unofficial type stuff. There was a DVD documentary which came out a couple of weeks ago, which I mentioned on the podcast, called I Am Your Father. It's a documentary about David Prowse, who was the original guy in the Darth Vader suit.
Is he still alive?
He is. Yeah. He's still kicking. So he goes to a lot of Star Wars conventions when he's invited. He's never been to an official Star Wars convention ever because of a fallout with George Lucas during filming back in the 70s and early 80s on Empire Strikes Back and Jedi especially.
George.
So it really goes in well to his relationship with George Lucas and the secrecy that George Lucas kind of put into the Empire Strikes Back and Jedi production in terms of, like, there were little things that I didn't know, that each character didn't really have the script. They got given a page of what they had to read next day. They had to sign off and pick it up. Everything when they finished their part, they had to take that page back and hand it back.
Oh, shit.
And also, and I don't know whether this was common knowledge because I didn't know it, but during Empire Strikes Back, the I Am Your Father scene, no one in the cast except for 3 people knew.
Harrison Ford didn't know
what was going on. And actually, during the filming, and this is, and I don't know whether it's common knowledge because it wasn't to me, and I don't know whether it's something particular for this documentary which no one ever knew. So this may be a spoiler, but it's worth still seeing. But apparently, David Prowse, when he was speaking to Mark Hamill in the actual acting, the actual line he delivered to get the reaction out of Mark Hamill was, Obi-Wan killed your father. And that's what everyone in the script knew and thought was going to be in your film.
But Mark Hamill knew that it was him, George Lucas, and was it Lawrence Kasdan?
Yeah. I think
3 of them,
But David Prowse didn't know anything about it until he went to the screening.
Like Harrison Ford.
That's when he knew that was the line.
Harrison Ford was sitting next to Mark Hamill. He's like, why didn't you tell me that one, kid?
Yeah. So those.
I get no cash for said services.
That was the most surprising thing to me. Like I didn't know that as a Star Wars fan that was the case.
One thing that struck me watching the preview that how uncannily similar, if Hayden Christensen grew up a little bit and got a bit taller, that David Prowse actually has a certain likeness to Hayden Christensen in some way. It's
funny in the documentary you hear David Prowse's voice when he was like late 30s when he did start Star Wars, and he had quite a high pitched kind of voice. Like it wasn't, but now
like David Beckham sort of.
Now when he's old. Now when he's old, it was a little bit like that. He had his weird accent too. I'm not sure which English accent it was. They kind of said it in the documentary, but even that didn't tweak like where he's kind of from in England, so I'm not really familiar with it. But this weird accent, which I never heard. But then later on in life, when he's like, now he's 80, his voice sounds almost like James Earl Jones. It's like it's perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're kidding me.
No, so this deep.
And how old is he now?
He's 80, I think. He is.
80? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think he was 80 during the filming of the.
But James Earl Jones would be around that
but
age
they went
too.
he was still lifting weights and shit in the gym.
At 80.
Wow.
He was still going. Yeah, it was impressive, and like it was really interesting to see how his relationship with the actual official Star Wars teams at Disney and LucasArts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How different it is to the relationship he has with the fans. Like it's a real eye opener, and also sad to see how he's been treated by LucasArts. So it's a great watch. You learn a lot about David Prowse's work outside of Star Wars, which is funny, and also he was a part of a government kind of program to make kids look left and right when they cross the road.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 40,000 people died in pedestrian accidents the year before that started.
Gee.
Then he portrayed this. He was kind of in a superhero in a cape thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the year after, it dropped by 20,000. So technically, he saved 20,000 lives. So he's done a lot of good.
He
for
used the
community
Force.
as well. Yeah, used the force. But he's a really nice guy, and sad that he hasn't reaped the rewards.
Yeah.
Because really, Darth Vader, like the voice is part of it, but the physical presence in the film is just as
due to
important
his
as
stature.
It's just and no one really knew who he was. So it's a great film for any Star Wars film.
But that makes you relive all of those scenes where you see him, just even the way he talks to the Emperor and the way he just
and there's one
sort of sachets around.
Yeah.
There's one special scene at the end of I'm Your Father where the Spanish director, you never get to see it because Disney didn't give anyone rights for anyone to show it in public, but they refilmed the scene with David Prowse, the last scene on Return of the Jedi where he's on the ramp of the shuttle and he takes his face mask off. So they refilmed that with David Prowse as Anakin Skywalker.
Oh.
Because he always wanted to be Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. Okay.
And part of the thing was with Return of the Jedi, they actually secretly filmed that part and didn't tell David Prowse that he wasn't going to be Anakin Skywalker. So he didn't know during the filming that no one was ever going to see his face in the film ever. So it was kind of a special moment for him, I think.
I'm just stretching the memory here a bit because it's been an unfortunate while since I've last seen Empire and Return. But there's a scene where one of the admirals walks into Darth Vader's chamber and he's getting his head mask changed. So that guy in that suit, that's not David Prowse. That's some other older.
For a lot of, I don't think it was Empire Strikes Back. It could have been David Prowse, but probably he had a stunt double for a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Actually, most of Return of the Jedi, through this document, most of Return of the Jedi, they actually secretly said, "Oh, we'll get your stunt double to do this. We'll get your stunt double to do this," because they didn't want David Prowse to be involved. There was such friction on set.
Yeah.
So it's a really weird story. It's a great story though. Like people have said, this is a bit slow paced and stuff. But if you're a Star Wars fan, this is one of the best documentaries you'll see about Star Wars.
And it gives you an inside window to the inner workings.
And there's a lot of George bashing that goes on in the Star Wars world, but you can see why he may bring it upon himself sometimes. So, Anyway, there's also recently been released another similar documentary called Elstree 1976, which goes through a lot of the other Star Wars cast members who were behind the Stormtrooper masks and Boba Fett and all those guys, and how their lives have gone along post the Star Wars universe without being seen.
Cool.
I haven't seen that yet. I've only watched the trailer. We'll put the links to the trailers, both of these, in the show notes. But that looks to be another great background story as into the rest of the cast of Star Wars and how it's affected their lives. So I'm going to get a copy of that and we'll review it fully.
Excellent.
When I get that. So I Am Your Father, Elstree 1976. I'm Your Father's $12. It's worth every cent.
Get it bundled with your Uncharted 4.
Damn straight. only 5 days?
Yeah.
God damn. There goes my weekends.
You're going to spend all your time driving free range in the Jeep in the open
problem. Like,
savannah.
I'm going to finish.
There's all these artifacts that you're going to have to look for.
I'm just going to be like I do with all Uncharted games. I'm going to have this 96-hour binge where I don't sleep. I've got toothpicks in my eyelids. My hands become crippled from the PlayStation controller. And I just play until I'm finished.
Are you going to be the treasure hunter though and get all of the artifacts? Are you going to go that hard?
I don't do that.
You don't set it to difficult setting and
I set it to super difficult, but I don't try and get all the little secret effects on that shit. I leave that to leave that to the trophy hunters.
Yes.
Now, next, it's our last bit of Star Wars news. Just some basic Episode 8 rumours that are going around. It was May the 4th, so the internet was flooded.
Today's Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the 5th, yes. Revenge of the 5th. So there's lots of little Star Wars rumours going around. We've talked about some of the Episode 8 rumoured movie names before, but I think the strongest one so far is Echo of the Dark Side.
That's a crazy.
Yeah, it all goes along that reincarnation of Anakin and into Rey and all that kind of stuff.
The script that leaked, Luke, I think she asked him, "Who are you?"
Yeah,
and then he says,
"I'm your father."
No, you are my father. And she's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Well, that would.
And then she hands him the mic.
Well, that would go hand in hand with the rumors that like this Ryan Johnson film is kind of weird for a Star Wars film.
Imagine if that happened, like the whole cinema would be like, "What the?"
Yeah, what the hell is going on? Yeah.
I've got one question. One question. I'm getting tired of these rumors and leaked scripts. Please,
from Reddit.
But I'd love to know how much of Force Awakens, how much of that linked up with all of the fan theories, all of the stuff out there onto the interwebs, how much of that was said prior to Force Awakens coming out? People went opening night and goes, "There's nothing like the leaked such and such that I read."
There wasn't the severed hand of Luke in space. That wasn't there.
No, there was. Disney have really tied it down, and I think they've actually have done some rewrites and stuff. So it's probably. There's not going to be.
One of the fans got it right. We're going to have to reshoot. Sorry, guys.
There's one guy
can you just rebuild that TIE fighter?
There's one guy on Reddit every day. He's taking the leaks.
He wrote a script that auto populates storylines, possible Jedi storylines, and it floods the internet with all these fake. It's annoying.
So I think the other
wait for the film.
So I think the other rumor that's going around at the moment, and I think this is almost confirmed, is that Alden Ehrenreich is going to be Han Solo.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No.
I think
I don't even know who he is.
from Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar. Have you seen
Hail Caesar?
Hail and Pace.
Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar. No, I haven't.
No, yeah. So that looks like it's.
Was he also on Girls?
No. So I think I think that's pretty much true. So that'll be interesting to see whether
this
it
guy
is.
Jimbo.
Oh yeah, show me a picture.
He doesn't.
Caesar.
He doesn't look like Harrison Ford at all.
And obviously, there's also
he looks more like Clint Eastwood's son,
don't know.
with the hint of who's that bad boy from the '60s? He died young. My brain stopped working.
James Dean.
Yeah, he looks a bit like James Dean.
Yeah, he does look like James Dean.
He's got a bit of a swashbuckling about him.
That's all right. I don't mind.
We need swashbuckling for a young Han Solo, though. So fair enough.
Yeah.
This guy. Anthony Ingruber, he's the guy who should have.
Yeah, Anthony. He does look awfully like
Gruber.
He does look awfully like
Harrison Ford.
Yeah. So
look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, they've even met each other.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an eearring though. That's a bit of a.
There's no
earring.
large earlobe hanging hanging down around his elbow. And then probably the final rumor around episode 8, which I think, well, it's not even episode 8, it's actually a Rogue One rumor, is obviously that Darth Vader will be in Rogue One. So,
and Mads Mikkelsen confirmed that he's the father of Jin Erso.
Jin, yes.
Gin and tonic.
I like that bit of information.
It's a rebellion.
I rebel.
Back to Force Awakens. I read somewhere that apparently Princess Leia's daughter in real life is going to have a bit more of a screen time in the next.
Princess Leia's real?
What's her name?
Carrie
Fisher. Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Carrie Fisher's daughter. Yeah. She's going to be in the film.
Yeah, because when I rewatched Force Awakens, I actually really noticed how many times her daughter popped up in certain key shots.
Yeah.
Like, always there sort of thing. It's very obvious. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. But,
I love it.
you know what?
Gary?
Gary.
Gary, I love it.
Gary.
Anyway, that's the end of our That's the end of
My
our
cravat's a bit tight.
That's the end of our Star Wars news.
Sorry to all the MasterChef.
Trying to
Just
MasterChef reference.
remind
Cut
the
out the
people of the world that
MasterChef
MasterChef was a creation of Australia. It was actually created in Australia.
Yeah, we apologise. We apologise to the world. But next we move on to.
I haven't done my
the
Marco
world-
Pierre White impressions yet.
Next we move on. Next we move on to the world of DC and what can only be described as a
Shitsville.
movie universe in chaos right now. So this week we've had sex.
Sex.
We've had sex. We've had sex. Seth, I don't even know how to spell. Is it Graham or Graham Smith? Graham. I'm going to say Graham Smith. Seth Graham Smith. He was the going to be the director of
Flash.
the first Flash film.
But he got
Flasher.
He's been pulled for
creative differences.
differences
they always
with Warner
say.
Brother, which really means you're a shit director.
Yeah. And it was going to be his debut film.
Yeah, well, I mean, it couldn't have been. It can't be creative differences if they're keeping the script that he wrote.
Yeah.
Like that is the creative that the film's based on. So there's something else there. But it was going to be his real first feature film, and
They'd be like, yeah.
the Flash after the reaction to
Batman versus
Superman.
Superman.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah, but Batman Superman was directed by a super director, like directed to the stars. You know, it's not.
He's not really a super director.
Well,
He's not a super director yet.
apparently not, because he is also in trouble with the lead teams at Warner Brothers, and it looks like
Apparently they're having fights every day.
Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder are about to part ways over the rest of the DC Expanded Universe films, and they're going to pull Zack Snyder out.
So you see, the geeks have the nerds have the power.
We have the power. Don't give us shit films.
Well, they create a lot
But-
of the.
but the thing is, he's already started
They create
filming.
a lot of the conversation about.
But
these
now's
films,
the time to, if they're going to do it, they've got to do it now. If they let another Zack Snyder film out, then they're stuck.
But who would come in now that all the development is done? He's done all the research and stuff. Who would?
Well, apparently they're going to keep all his scripts as well, just replace him in the producer and direction roles.
But imagine, would you say somebody's already started a project? Would you just walk in which you have no idea
I think
about?
it's quite common for a director to get changed and then walk in and reshoot stuff.
And aren't screenplays rewritten,
Yeah,
and
so-
like by 30 different writers before it gets made
you
into
don't
a
want,
chick flick?
I mean, you don't want it to fall into the hands of someone like Kevin Smith or something either. I mean, but
It'd be shot in black and white.
well, yeah, I mean,
I reckon-
he's actually working on the Flash TV show next season. So
One episode, isn't it?
So-
Is it one episode?
I think he did a couple episodes this season.
Hang on, are you
Yeah.
talking about Kevin Smith or Zack Snyder?
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. I think I saw an article the other day where Kevin Smith might actually be doing a lot of the season next year for Flash.
Okay.
Jeez.
So, but the last few episodes of Flash that I've seen have been
It's like all of his
off the hook. I don't know whether they're the Kevin Smith ones or not.
It's like all his childhood dreams have come to fruition.
Oh yeah. No, but
I think George Miller would be good too.
yeah. Well,
Mad Max?
Yeah.
yeah. They brought,
Mad Max is an extraordinary film.
but it seems to me that Warner Brothers are worried about when you read about Zack Snyder and what he wanted to do with Batman, and when he talked about Christopher Nolan's portrayals of Batman and stuff, he was kind of like wasn't dark enough. Like he's kind of like when he was in the prison, like in my movie, there would have been a rape scene where he got raped in prison and stuff. I'm like, what?
Where did he say that?
What are you talking about?
Where did he say this? I never heard this.
Oh, he talked. I think it was on.
What the fuck?
He's going to end up like Human Centipede. What's going on here?
No. I was shocked too.
Thank God he didn't do the solo movie.
Yeah. So I think he was going to take it in dark places that Warner Brothers couldn't go. So.
Yeah, even they've got him
like Watchmen. You've seen Watchmen, Yeah.
But they need to compare notes and like, all right, well, Marvel's got this massive canvas ahead for the next 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
This huge output, and
but so
it's all but
they've slated all their films out for 10 years.
But the way that the sales dropped after the initial opening weekend is indicative of what can go wrong when they try it that way.
But see,
whereas at least like with Civil War, Avengers, that stuff pulls in the billion. And without fail, it will pull in.
Yeah, I think
not Titanic level, but
I think when you look at it, like, I still think Batman vs Superman ended up nearly globally taking in almost $1 billion.
900 million.
Yeah, but still, and you can say, that's fantastic. It almost took in $1 billion, but
it's just.
But it was the first
bad reaction.
Yeah.
The next film would not make that.
And it's the first time Batman was up against Superman. On film, and that's craze balls.
That's what I don't get. Like $250 million budget, and he created a shit film.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They probably spent most of the money on that
on the billboards.
A lot of BVS.
Jim Bob's out the best.
No, because a lot of the BVS felt like in Tim Burton's Batman's, like you felt like you were walking through the streets of Gotham. You felt the lights. You felt the dampness. You felt the darkness, the shadows. Whereas
an empty city.
Whereas the Gotham looked like it was a vacated city that. Seriously, when they went back to Gotham to fight,
couldn't afford any
each
extras,
other.
Mate. Couldn't pay the extras, mate.
No,
can't you just
couldn't even put him with CGI?
Yeah, but the whole Gotham scene looks like a hand drawn, background artwork for a scene at a theater or something. It's like
it wasn't great.
This is the biggest super thing versus each other of all time, and then you've gone and done this painterly, like the graphics look better in bloody Game Boy. Tetris graphics look better than that.
It was a disappointing.
Is that a bit of a stretch?
Yeah.
You've put some mayo on that.
I put mayo on
it. But it was a disappointing film, both visually and from a narrative sense. It was a disappointing film.
Yes. See.
Now, a little bit of DC news before we get into some Marvel news is Batfleck.
The Batfleck is back.
The Batfleck is back, and the standalone Batman movie is going to be filled with villains.
Yeah.
So
100% villains.
It's no surprise that he was going to do it. Like.
Yeah. So, so that news broke on IGN. Obviously, it was first because it was on IGN.
IGN always gets it first.
First.
It was thrice.
So
we got it thrice.
Yeah. So there's been no confirm as to what the story arc, where they're going to take the story arc from. But I think, Jono, you've got a bit of a.
I think it's going to be the Hush storyline.
Yeah, I think it will be too.
I still love your
which
Tom
is a great
Hiddleston
story arc.
A lot of people were going for the Red Hood storyline, but I think they debunked that. That's not going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I loved your Tom Hiddleston Riddler pairing. I think.
Oh, imagine that they announced it. Tom Hiddleston to play the Riddler. Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's an nerdgasm right there.
Anyway, that's the end of DC news for the week, and we move into a little bit of Marvel news. The Punisher has been confirmed as a standalone series on Netflix. So everyone who is a big fan of John Bernthal's portrayal of Frank Castle, they'll be over the moon to know.
One batch, two batch.
So Stephen Lightfoot, who's the writer for Hannibal, he's also looks like he's going to be the showrunner, and that'll be out 2017. So
I think it's going to be better than Daredevil.
I think it'll be the best Marvel show there's ever been. if they let it go and just put the right rating on it, just let it go, it'll be amazing.
Like the prison scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no
A lot
doubt
of the stuff on Netflix is pretty dark anyway, so
Yeah.
you can really push it on that.
what Marvel are letting, or not letting, or what Marvel are doing on Netflix is outstanding stuff compared to the film that we're going to chat a little bit about in the second half of this podcast, Captain America: Civil War. Stark differences between the quality of work
totally
putting in there. Stark. Did you like that?
If
Now that's what I call a segue.
Yeah. Now, so Punisher 2017. Everyone's excited. It'll be awesome. So
and Iron Fist.
Iron
This
Fist
year.
be later this year as well, and Luke Cage I think be later this year as well.
Luke Cage wins.
Good stuff. I'm really looking forward to Luke Cage.
Yeah.
More than Iron Fist. I don't know why. I think I'll probably enjoy Iron Fist more, but Luke Cage I'm looking forward to.
Until I see the costume, I wouldn't be sold.
Yeah. Yeah, we did see the hippie walking through the streets.
The hippie costume. Yeah.
Now, whilst we're talking about other new stuff, in the last week we have a new Tomb Raider. Alicia Vikander is the new Lara Croft in the franchise reboot that's coming. She's obviously won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in the film The Danish Girl, which I didn't even know. I didn't know she'd won any.
She won it.
So she beat out Jennifer Jason Leigh and Kate Winslet and Rachel McAdams, pretty good actresses there that she beat out. So it looks like it'll be, even though Vikander's 28 years old, she looks much younger.
Yep.
I think it'll be a much
looks
younger
like a
Lara
teenager.
Croft playing more along the lines of the game where she's a kind of 19, 20-year-old girl kind of finding herself in the world. So I think it'll be a really interesting new reboot for Tomb Raider. The Angelina Jolie ones were good films, but they were kind of like...
Cheesy.
Yeah, they're kind of like B-grade kind of Indiana Jones type things. Or what was that movie with Nicolas Cage where he hunts the treasure and stuff?
National Treasure.
Yeah, that kind of,
They were that kind of film.
Yeah.
So.
Sorcerer's Apprentice is a bit better than National Treasure, but National Treasure's
Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Nick Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, he wasn't bad in that.
Who was his apprentice? Was it
Some young
I
kid.
keep on
but
getting sucked in.
John?
Because
some
Nicolas
young
Cage seemed to release a movie every 6 months at some point, like Known and all these weird films that popped out. Some of them are okay, but Nicolas Cage, man.
You know that they announced
What have they announced?
Ice Cube is the new Green Lantern.
No, that's not true.
That's just some
Oh,
Photoshop.
thank God. If Ice Cube is Green Lantern, I'll be walking out of this podcast live. Yeah, so we have a new Tomb Raider, so we can look forward to that.
That's somebody's done a Photoshop of Alicia Vikander as Tomb Raider.
So, you can check out more upon that announcement on rebelscumradio.com, as well as some more information about the Punisher on Netflix. There's also an article on rebelscumradio.com. You can check those out. Now, more gaming news. Nintendo NX has been announced to launch in March 2017. That's pretty much all the news that's been released about Nintendo NX because they're being super secretive about it. But they have promised one thing, is that the Nintendo NX device will be unique and different. So this is going to be hit and miss for Nintendo. It looks like they're cashing in all their chips.
In what way is it going to be different?
Well, there's only rumors and they're kind of unconfirmed. Like the interface will be
Isn't it like
different.
fake patents going up and
I don't know.
fake
There's all kinds of weird stuff
product
going on around
shots
this.
and
There's been it'll be interesting. No one knows anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you say Nintendo NX and you're a Nintendo employee. You're out the door.
I'll tell you what though, it'd be funny though if it's actually not a console but like a lens that you just put in your eye and then you have to wear a glove and then you can. That's the game.
Yeah, I mean, but just to go into how.
Or is that a bit of a stretch?
That's a bit of mayo on that.
It's the Mayo edition.
But I mean, just to show how secretive Nintendo are, is that they're not going to E3 with this year. So that only leaves maybe 6 or 7 months between E3 and the launch. So super secret. So, but then again, a lot of gaming houses don't go to E3 anymore. They just do their own thing, like Sony. Like Sony are there, but they do their own big launches and stuff anyway. So, and Nintendo over the last few E3s have had a much smaller presence there anyway. They've done their own little things off campus. So, Yeah, so but at least March 17, we've got a date for when it will be out. So it's something to look forward to. And if you're a Nintendo gamer, of which I am not, but I know lots of people that are, it's an exciting thing.
I purchased a Nintendo DS recently.
Yes, I was there when you purchased.
Oh, that's right. You're in the store with me, right there. Aurora Borealis, right there.
Right there.
But they're playing Star Fox Command on such a old school graphics. Boy, does it! It's a good game for what it was.
Nintendo's games. I mean, like, Nintendo games are kind of like almost a genre onto themselves. Their experiences are different from PlayStation.
It's just where their thinking is coming from, different from the
Which is why the unique and different rumor that's kind of put out about their new console is an exciting one for people to hear. But obviously, if that goes like Wii U didn't do great, if that goes belly up, I don't know what Nintendo are going to do. Yeah. Like they've kind of got nowhere to go. I don't know why they just don't do it. Just like get their engineers to skip forward and just say we need a piece of hardware that can rival PlayStation and Xbox.
Yep.
How can we build that piece of hardware in terms of a power point of view to deliver what people want? And how can we deliver the Nintendo experience on that hardware? That's the simplicity of what Nintendo have to do. I don't know whether this risk is going to pay off for them. I hope it does, because it'd be good to have something different in the gaming marketplace than another PlayStation or another Xbox type thing. So.
Two little interesting things about Nintendo and their longevity is I don't know if the video's been confirmed or not, but a speedrunner beat the world record for Mario Brothers. He clipped a few seconds or milliseconds or whatever off the top speed run, and I watched the whole video of him playing through it, and it's quite a thing to watch someone do a speed run because they do not falter any steps, or that it's like they've memorized everything so beautifully that it's like it's watching like a movie, and it's and then like when you go onto Twitch and watch people play their own Mario levels that they can build themselves, and then people come on and then they play their levels and give feedback, and it really brings out the inner.
Well, imagine imagine how good this will be.
It's engrossing
when VR develops. It'll be very exciting. Talking of VR.
Speaking of VR,
that's
a good thing.
Yeah. Virtually speaking.
Now this was an article. So this is an older article from Wired.com, which dropped the bottle. This is an older article from Wired.com, which I kind of didn't see last year for some reason. This was from December last year. Some presidential debates in the US where VR was used during the presidential debates, where users of the new Samsung S7 phones, where you had the Galaxy VR headset.
Oh, the box,
there were 4
cardboard box.
No, it's actually like a proper headset.
Oh, right, okay.
They released it in a package with the phone. There are actually 4 cameras they put around the presidential hall where they're having the debates. And when you put the headset on, you could choose to watch the debates in VR. There was one that was kind of on the side of the thing, so you could watch it like you were standing backstage. One from up high and one from whatever. So you could switch between.
So you just look.
So it was interesting to see that like I always thought that would be a great use for it in terms of especially live sports and stuff. If like say at the Super Bowl or something, you had 8 cameras in like seats around the Super Bowl, so anyone could VR in from that camera and look around.
So it's like a pay-per-view scenario.
And it's like you're sitting in the stadium.
Yeah.
And you could actually turn around and actually see the person that would be actually there. But you're sitting in that seat.
But you could do that with the cricket umpire. You put a 360 camera on their head with a live feed, but you're not controlled by the direction that the umpire's head's turned in because you're controlling where the camera looks.
Yeah.
And because it's always taking in 720, 360 video, you get to see.
Shit.
Now,
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Like the AFL Grand Final. Like
Yeah.
now there were some problems that the guys who tested this VR out at the presidential had in terms of and it's probably more to do with the Samsung gear being able to process all that stuff and actually process the crowd, but because obviously you can't render all that information on that gear, that the faces of all the people around were actually just blank masks.
Okay.
So it's I think that kind of takes you out of the reality if that's the case. So really,
So it's like being at a Nickelback concert.
so really, yeah.
look at this
Just
graph.
these blank, plain faces from people who are
Sorry,
numb from
Nickelback
listening to too much
listeners.
Nickelback. Yeah, so there's still that disconnect between reality and stuff, and also there's that disconnect where you can't obviously get up and walk around in terms of the environment. So, and there was also one thing that the guy that tested it did mention is that being at home and having the VR headset on from a generation of when you're kind of watching this stuff on television and you're interacting with communities through social networks and stuff whilst you're watching it, that removes that aspect out of remotely viewing an event because you're actually in the event because of the headset.
Yeah.
So you're not typing on Facebook and doing social media or talking in chat with your friends and stuff. You're actually
But what
put into the event.
What if you're at like the MCG and you're watching a footy match at home with your VR helmet, and then your mate who's sitting on the other side of the ground texts you a message or tweets something live with the hashtag, go Tigers, and then you can actually see that tweet come towards you in like a virtual sense,
like a scroll
while you're watching the game, and then you can. And then you could have like a sub menu where you go, I'm going to listen to a bit of the umpire's commentary, and you got all these choices. I'd pay per view to have an organic experience in my living room.
I still think.
How would you see your drinks and stuff? Yeah.
Well, no, because
that's
that
just
gets
it with-
rendered because you'd have a camera at home that project.
Yeah, but you need serious
video
hardware for
maps.
that.
Or,
You need to get that kind of stuff. You need an Oculus Rift or something.
Yeah.
You can't use like the Samsung gear. Samsung gear, these guys had no hands or anything in the thing.
but we've
So
come a
just
long
like
way.
putting on goggles and
But we've come a long way in
It's like
12
being an
months.
IMAX,
Yeah,
so.
But we've come a long way in 12 months.
Yeah.
And I think a lot more people are showcasing what they've discovered working with VR technology. And I've shown you a few videos of people playing Tron games
See,
in a hallway.
Yeah, that was
and that looks amazing.
Yeah.
it looks amazing. It does. It does.
The mind boggles, in fact, Carl,
Yes.
when you think of the applications that could
It's mind-boggling.
mind-boggling.
My mind is in a bottle.
Glass case of emotion.
I'm trapped in a glass case of emotion.
VR emotion.
VR emotions. Now, whilst we're on talking about all things computers and tech and all that kind of stuff,
Windows 95.
I'm going to skip forward here to a little bit of AI news. This is an article from Mysterious Universe, which is a great podcast if you want to listen to all things kind of weird and conspiracy theories. It's a couple of Australian guys. It's brilliant. So
I guess.
Yeah, so it's mysteriousniverse.org, so you can check that out. Links in the show notes. So they've reported here that an article on the website that the greatest threat to humanity in the next 5 years will be artificial intelligence. So a team at Oxford University have done a study into the global catastrophic risks that are in front of us in the future. And they report that a person may be 5 times more likely to die in an extinction event over the next 5 years than in a car crash. So think about that.
Based on the progression of robotics.
It may not even need to get to the point where it's a legitimate artificial intelligence. All it needs to recognize is that it doesn't like us, or that we're a problem on Earth.
Yeah.
And so even without full artificial intelligence, it might even be more dangerous in the case that it goes, well, hang on, if they're processing if artificial intelligence are processing like water supplies or food supplies or that kind of stuff, or medical supplies, they're kind of like, hang on, these guys are
Control
using all
it,
these
yeah.
resources.
Yeah.
We don't actually need them for anything.
But
Let's kill the population
But
down to
wouldn't-
what it should be.
But then wouldn't the artificial intelligence ask itself, what would I be without the presence of human population?
Yeah, but it's not full artificial intelligence. It's making analytical decisions, not conscious thoughts with ethics and morals and stuff in it. It's just making analytical decisions, saying, "We've got this, and this. We've got these resources. We've got these humans. I've got drones that can kill humans.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill these humans so they don't use my resources."
Yeah.
So, and that's where the interim span of years in between trying to get to artificial intelligence and real artificial intelligence with a subconscious in it, where it'll filter all this information as a human brain would. It's going, I can't kill that. That's a life form. Rather than saying, actually, I can kill that. That's just the thing that's taking out my resources. So I'm going to kill it.
But do you think it's going to happen within 5 years?
Well, that's what the study says.
So
And when you think about Domino's robot drones delivering our pizzas,
Already, yeah.
maybe it's not that far away.
What if
Sure.
Domino's
and
turns
this is just
Domino's turns into Skynet?
yeah, exactly. So and this is just like the front facing
Because they just did a brand change. They just did change their brand name.
So
you've got to remember that.
Like I was speaking at the last podcast about the so-called artificial intelligence that's in the dark web that we don't know about.
Yeah. So and like I said, this is like all that Domino stuff is only the front facing stuff that we see, which is ready for market.
We don't know what's.
We don't know along Moore's law, like the technology curve, actually how far ahead they are on that curve. Like they could be much further ahead on that curve, which means technologically, because it's an exponential curve, they may be like 50 years ahead, for all we know, of where we actually see things.
Yeah.
But that curve would be curving up so fast that when you're doubling that each year,
Exactly. They only need to be like 10 or 20 years ahead for them to be so technologically advanced that maybe to us now it'd even be like magic, even though we're technologically advanced ourselves, or we believe we are.
Yeah.
So who knows? Next 5 years, when you think of how fast that curve moves, then
I mean, Siri. Look at Siri. Like
we're going to have to be. I'm going to get chased by Arnie down the streets of Moorabbin or something.
Arnie.
I'm looking for Sauracana.
So anyway, it was funny. I was reading this article and then I kind of flicked through over to theinverse.com, which is the website I kind of read a lot. It's got a lot of tech news and stuff on it. And I read an article that a robot soccer team actually beat a human team in a game.
Are we talking about freestanding robots?
We're talking about
Define the robot first, because
the robot is it's kind of like a bigger kind of like a robot vacuum type looking thing. And it's got this arm which kind of kicks the ball, and they can move around and pass it to one another.
And when you say human, you mean human controlled robots?
No.
AI.
Humans.
No
real
human,
humans.
No human control.
No.
They just got algorithms programming them to figure out like where the opposition are, and where they all obviously know where their teammates are, the teammate robots, and they pass the ball and go through and whatever. So anyway, the robots won 3-2 against humans, and I thought,
it's going to be like that. Remember the Nike ad they had? The animated Nike ad where the robots are taking over, and Ronaldo has to recruit the old football.
From the last World Cup. Anyway, it wasn't until I'd scrolled down the bottom of this article when I actually watched the YouTube video clip of the game, which is 90 seconds long. And I don't know whether you guys want to pop around and watch this. I'll play it in a minute. Where this article was kind of put into context. The opposition who played said robot teams are the most unathletic and unskilled sportsmen I have ever seen on film.
I'm going to see this.
You've got to come around and see this. I've never quite seen the likes of this. It's amazing that they actually know anything about soccer at all. So this is the game. So this goes for about 90 seconds. But that's a shot on goal. Now what's that? Look at this. Standing around.
It's like, is it David Dingley?
Watch the goalkeeper here in a minute. Look at this. What is that?
Whoa.
Now this is the RoboCup. Actually,
Have they ever played soccer?
look. I don't
That would be
know.
my first question.
I believe not. But look, like
We're going to steal the ball.
steal the ball.
Is this a funny or die clip?
No, this is the RoboCup.
RoboCup. Yeah.
And the goalkeeper, the Robo goalkeeper, is amazing. He's pretty good. I don't even know how these guys scored 2 goals, to be honest. Where was the goalkeeper? Nowhere. Wasn't even a goalkeeper there to stop the ball.
I love that 90s drum and bass trance music in the background. It's nice.
Why can't they put them?
Look at this. Worst goalkeeper on earth.
Why can't they put them against Ronaldo and?
It's like get beaten
Messi.
20-0 and then they can't write the headline that the humans lost.
David Beckham. They need to put him against David Beckham.
Anyway, so I watched that clip and I came to the conclusion that we're safe. We are safe.
We can outrun the robots.
We can outrun the robots and we can beat them in a game of soccer.
Just to bring it back down a notch into the darker area.
Yeah.
Hang
on a minute.
On the topic of robots.
Yeah.
It's funny seeing that, but I saw a video of a Japanese robot company spruiking their marketing video on YouTube.
Oh.
And they got a sword specialist to cut some things that samurai sword people would cut in a test. And then they go, we've developed a robot arm with a samurai sword extension to copy the human way of cutting through these objects. And then they were doing it so well that they could fine tune the robot arm to cut through the middle of a snow pea directly in half, of it just resting on top of something and cutting through apples and all that kind of stuff.
I don't feel so safe now.
No, because
it changes my attitude.
Because if Arnie had a samurai sword attachment, like he could do a bit of damage.
Well, yeah.
With robotic precision.
Yeah, or even who is the second Terminator? I forgot
T-1000?
The fluid guy.
T-1000.
Was that the 1000?
Sorry.
No, that was Arnie the 1000.
The cop.
Yeah, the cop.
Oh, what was his code name?
Was he 3000 or something? Can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Terminator fan, so.
No, I can't remember.
Yeah, but see, he wouldn't have to do that. He could just liquid up a samurai sword.
A katana.
Yeah, well, he made swords out of his body to attack people.
Make a sword here.
Right.
So
Yes, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah, see what I did there.
Yeah. You could make mops and all kinds. So anyway. So
in the end, the mop will win.
Yeah. So anyway, so the greatest threat at the moment that people see for the future, the Armageddon of the world, is AI, and this is backed up by Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and Steve Wozniak, who, in a letter that they unveiled at the International Joint Conference, warned that artificial intelligence can potentially be more dangerous than nuclear weapons in the future. So that's a bit of happy news.
Yes.
It's something to look forward to, yeah.
But if the world does come to an end, it's a good time because a life-size Noah's Ark has been built and it's sailing around the world. So we can get on that.
Just in time.
Just in time for the end of the world. So the new Noah's Ark is hitting the Atlantic Ocean soon, but there's no need to worry.
How do they get the exact specs?
Well, it's 40 cubits by 80 cubits. But all of the sizes of the Ark is in the Old Testament.
Okay.
How many cubits it was, I can't remember. But it does say how big the boat was.
Okay.
So anyway, so this has been built by a Dutchman. Surprise.
How much are the tickets?
Oh, I didn't check that actually. It's pretty flash. The cinemas and the rooms and
There's cinemas in there?
yeah, it's got it's all wood. Like it's all wood grain, and it's got like this cinema screen and all the deck chairs and stuff.
It's supposed to be barns and hay and
it's like a luxury Noah's Ark.
It's supposed to smell like a farm.
Yeah.
It smells like a farm on this boat. Is it going to have like a museum component where you can look at all of the species of animals that? So all the sausage dogs, all the corgis.
All it's designed to be is like a luxury ark designed to take around
Rich people.
take around the Atlantic for rich people and inspire the locals into Christianity. That's like the motive.
It's like a floating Jehovah's Witness.
Yes, it's something like that.
If you call in the next 30 minutes, we'll give you a ticket.
It's exactly the same size, allegedly, from the Old Testament as the actual ark. So it's actually it's the size of it. It's actually larger than a football field. It's 410 feet long, 95 foot wide, and 75 foot tall. It weighs 2.5 tons and can hold over 5,000 people.
What?
Is that more?
I beg your pardon?
5,000.
2.5 ton.
2,500 tons.
That's more like it.
It's chuck it on the back of the ute.
It's like, it's no heavier than a Land Cruiser.
Chuck it in the back of the ute.
So that is going to be on a multi-country tour going from the Netherlands to Brazil. So who knows? I wonder if it'll stop off in Port Phillip Bay.
I hope they don't have the same food poisoning problems that one of the boats I saw in Sydney on my honeymoon adventure.
Oh, I remember.
Because I was in Sydney the day that ship that was directly out from the view from the hotel we were staying at.
Yes.
We saw that boat and we were literally watching the news when they said, there's been a boat-wide outbreak of salmonella poisoning, and when we were like walking on the pier area, and you could see like
we could see the salmonella.
we could see all the vomit just coming off the side of the boat.
See it seeping off the boat.
Yeah. But it was bizarre. Like, and the funny thing is that not a couple of months later, the same very thing happened again on the same boat. I believe. Yeah.
Appears to be some sanitation issues on said boat.
Yeah, they've got rusty mops.
Someone's not doing the mopping. Now, speaking of mopping, we're going to end this first part of the podcast with a little bit of news from Iceland, which I don't think we've ever done before, and a little bit of a warning: do not dry your balls in Iceland. Now, you may not know what the hell we're talking about. This is from the telegraph.co.uk, and there's been a ban on swimming pools in Iceland where men are using the hand dryers to dry their nether regions. Now, I do not know why men would be doing such things, so I thought, what the hell is this about? Anyway, it's a brand new thing apparently that's going on through Iceland and
dry ball.
But the Icelandic pools are hitting back. They're banning.
He's cracking up.
I can't. The problem has become so bad that staff were asked.
What? Hang on. So people teabagging hand dryers?
Yes.
What? There's Dyson. Don't blow your balls off.
Ask their patrons to stop using the hand dryers on their hands.
When the Dyson took my balls off.
Now the bit that got me, and it's actually in the article on the Telegraph, is that they actually created a poster showing an elderly man hand drying his testicle with a large X over said testicle.
The old mosaic filter.
And the title of the poster read, "This is not a ball sack dryer." Don't dry, and then the poster went on to read, "Do not dry your ball sack or butt with the communal hair dryer in the swimming pool or gym. Bald older gentlemen with hairy torsos must either bring their own blow dryers now or bring an absorbent towel." Apparently, though, it's not only Iceland where this phenomenon is happening.
Hope it doesn't catch on.
After this, there was several Reddit threads which came out. And apparently this is happening a lot of places around the world. And people actually claim that it was to avoid dampness, stickiness, and friction caused by towels in the gym. Now, I don't know what's going on in these gyms. I don't know what's going on in these gyms.
A towel issue.
But there was other stories on Reddit which I lost my shit over this one when I was reading it. Not everyone agrees that drying your balls with hand dryers and stuff is the best way to do things. One Reddit user went on to say, I tried that once with my sister's hair dryers and I burnt my balls. I'm never doing it again. Now, there's no news as to whether or not this phenomenon extends to the female changing rooms. We just need to watch this.
This wasn't like a blowtorch. Like, how hot was that?
I don't know.
Hairdryer.
I don't know. Did you accidentally buy a glue gun from Bunnings or something? I don't know. What is got? But anyway,
the Oxy torch hairdryer.
It seriously took me maybe an hour to get through this article, and it's only like 500 words. I couldn't stop laughing, and then I had to go off to Reddit and read all these posts. But yeah,
hope it doesn't.
Tough times in Iceland. I mean, it is Iceland. It's obviously cold.
Greenland's colder than Iceland.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's called Greenland just to.
Iceland's greener than Greenland,
whoa.
They called it
That's what
Greenland
I've
to
heard.
attract the people there.
and they eat whale meat.
But back in the day of the Vikings.
I wonder what the ball drying rule, the local pools in Greensland are.
Yeah.
I wonder if you're allowed.
Wonder how it is in Baronia.
Baronia.
Anything goes in Baronia.
Does Baronia have pools?
They used to have, what was it, Knox Waterwater, I think it used to be called.
Cesspools?
Yeah. I've
Hey,
never heard of this before.
to Baronia's credit, Knox Waterwater did have a big slide.
Knox Waterworld.
Waterworld? Oh, yeah.
Which, like there used to be train tracks that went across the main intersection in Baronia,
Yeah.
but they had a water slide. So you actually had more chance of getting from one point to the other down a water slide than it was to get across that intersection, which is now thankfully underground. But
Of course.
but fixing up the train station also meant they put a police station and a McDonald's there, so it's kind of just another suburb now. It's lost its
Are we
character.
veering off here? Are we veering?
Suburbs.
Are we veering off suburbs now? I think we've veered. I think we've officially veered. Anyway, so the moral
And that was
of
brought
this
to you by
story-
realestate.com.
Like the moral,
Check
of
out the
this story-
domain app for house prices in Baronia.
Like the moral of this story is, if you're going to Iceland,
Don't dry your balls. Yeah.
we'll be back after the break, and we are going to discuss
Civil War.
Captain America and Civil War, aka Avengers 3,
Yeah.
In Russian.
2.5.
2.5.
In Russian.
Yeah.
In Russian.
No less.
Yeah, I've learned a lot of Russian.
До свидания.
We'll be back after the break.
It's exactly what Captain America wants. It's exactly what Captain America wants.
exactly what Captain America wants.
Welcome back, Rebel Scum. Me and
Welcome
Jono
back.
here.
Yes.
About to break down Captain America
Jim
Civil
Bob's
War. We've
turned into a microscopic ant.
Yes, we've not that be able to see it even when it was in the film because they'd probably choose not to film it. So anyways, yeah. So Jim Bob hasn't seen the film, so we've sent him out on a
He's in a green room with the headphones in.
headphones on, drinking cheap wine.
Yeah.
He's loving it. So me and Jono, as per usual.
Yep.
We're going to break this sucker down. This is a spoilers review.
Total spoilers.
So we'll put that in the show notes anyway for anyone before they even listen to any of this podcast. So we're going to tear this sucker apart. Now, should we give our ratings at the start now? We've seen the film.
Yeah.
Just so people know where we're coming from.
Yep.
So I originally gave it a 7.
Yep.
Now I'm thinking 6.5.
Okay.
But it's somewhere in between there for me.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah. So, where do we start? So, I guess
Let's start with the villain.
the villain was kind of, as the villain kind of went.
He's supposed to be the
through-
strong character in the comics who
Yeah, it was.
who has fighting skills and like you've seen Winter Soldier, George St. Pierre.
Oh yeah, George St. Pierre. Yeah.
Yeah, because Baron Zemo has that kind of characteristics where you've seen him in the comics. Yeah, he's got this purple mask and he's a good fighting skills.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what he was in the movie.
There wasn't a whole lot. What was in the movie, to be honest, it was kind of the villainy in this movie was kind of very disappointing. It was almost Zemo kind of becomes this. Even towards the end, he was still just this background character behind Captain America and Iron Man. Kind of like you understand why he's doing it because he blatantly says so that he's trying to break up the Avengers from within and set them against one another. But you still really don't know why. And I think that's a lot of problem with the motives through all the characters again.
But he said it because he lost his parents, his father and family in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. From a villainy point of view, I think I don't think they fully flesh out that villainous storyline in there. They're so concentrated on the Avengers, and there's so many Avengers in this that it's really not.
It's not a Captain America movie.
It's an Avengers film. It's like it's an Avengers film where the central characters are Iron Man and Captain America.
But I think they just used him as a subplot to get Captain America and Iron Man to fight each other.
And like Zemo just figures out a way to he figures out a plan which you don't. It's kind of a plan which you don't really even see until it's there, and he's not in the film enough. That's just my opinion. It concentrates on so many parts of the Avengers, and maybe that was a problem that was always going to be part of the film, is that there's so many characters in there. To get them all in the film, that it's maybe was difficult to flesh out a movie that doesn't end up being 3 hours long. And this was still 2 hours 20, 2 hours 30.
It could have just been Cap versus Iron Man. They didn't have to, because the airport the fight scene looked very empty, like you said.
Yeah, and this has to do with the Russo brothers who filmed
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and it's that scene in the. I think we should step back a little bit and say that build up to the scene. It was a disappointing build up in terms of when they're building the teams. And they go to Ant-Man, and they go to Spider-Man. And they're just kind of like, "Oh, do you want to be on my team?" Yeah, all right. Like, why? If Tony Stark went to Ant-Man or whatever, and said, "Do you want to be on my team?" And he just said yes. And would have Captain America gone to Spider-Man? Would he just said yes? Like, why did they choose teams? Like, what's the driver behind them as individuals as to why they chose to be Iron Man's or Captain America's teams?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's just mindless type stuff. And then so
they didn't have motives as to why.
Yeah, there's nothing there. There's nothing, and it's kind
like
of,
Peter Parker just went with Iron Man because he had the money.
And that was part of it. It's kind of a little bit like Batman and Superman, where like motives are kind of lost and not really told, and it's almost like maybe similar to Batman and Superman, where it ended up almost trying to be an ad for future films, and I think I was going to call it Avengers,
but the motives for Tony and
the motives for
Tony and Captain America, those are very clear.
But all the others, they're just chucked in there almost. It's almost like product placement of characters in the films. Yeah. That's like I was speaking to Dieppe at work today, and we're talking about product placement in films. Yeah. And we said, and I only just thought about it then actually, and there's no product placement in it. And I was gone. Actually, there is. It's like the products are all the other films that they've put in there. Yeah. That's the product placement that you don't really see because of Ant-Man, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Iron Man 4 will be coming out, obviously. I don't know.
There's rumor of a Black Widow solo movie.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what they do with all that. Obviously, in this film, there was no Hulk or Thor.
No.
They're the characters they left out.
They mentioned them.
So, they mentioned them in the film, but they weren't in there at all.
Like the end credits was a big scene for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Since Spider-Man will return.
Yeah. Yeah, so you did have that central spark of Captain America and Iron Man, and obviously Winter Soldier, Bucky. But outside of that, it was all just, it's kind of fluffy. It was probably a 2.5 hour film that should have been 90.
Yeah.
That being said, I love Spider-Man and Black Panther and what they did.
Yeah. I think that's the best, for me, that was the best iteration of Spider-Man on screen.
Oh,
ever.
It was miles.
Much better than Tobey and Garfield.
Oh,
Tobes.
Yeah. Tom Holland was, as Spider-Man, was that, to me, and again, I was talking to Dieppe at work today, and she's a massive Marvel fan. And like, to me, that was Spider-Man. Yeah. That was it. That's how I remember everything about Spider-Man.
He was like a scared little kid, like talking to Tony Stark.
Like, just energetic and just a bit brash and just everything that Spider-Man was supposed to be. Yeah. I thought Andrew Garfield's portrayal was a step closer to that than what Tobey Maguire did.
But he was stuttering a lot.
Yeah. And I didn't mind that. I didn't mind Emma Stone's role in there as well. The only weird thing about Spider-Man in this film is Aunt May. Aunt May is...
She cannot be hot.
This super hot aunt, which Tony Stark hits on in the film.
And the apartment, it's like they got a...
Yeah, all of a sudden, instead of...
They got a condo in Queens.
Instead of being this Aunt May down on her luck, just living in like a pensioner in his house, and he's in the little attic up the top, in like this penthouse mansion, whatever. It's like, what the hell is this? You're living in Central Park. What's going on here? What the hell is happening? So... I don't know. Maybe it's just a new Spider-Man for a new age. But that being said, the actual Spider-Man portrayal itself is brilliant. Just as brilliant as Chad Boseman's portrayal of Black Panther was.
Good African accent.
Perfection as well. Yeah. Perfect African accent. His suit was off the charts good. It was an amazing suit they put him in.
Did you get a lot of reactions when he showed up on screen in the cinema?
Yeah.
Like everybody was like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Nobody knew about Black Panther.
Yeah, I think there were a few claps. Yeah. But I think it was kind of a little bit like when we went and saw Deadpool. Yeah. There were people that liked Deadpool because of what they saw in the trailers. Yeah. But then it's like the two girls behind us in that film, like they were like little speckles around who knew Deadpool.
Like when he mentioned Cable in the after credits scene.
Yeah, they went nuts. Yeah. So I think early on in the early shows you'll get a lot of different reactions in terms of real hardcore.
And Marvel has mentioned that they don't care from now on they don't care about people who don't know about the characters.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I think now, you'll get better films by not, especially in all these kind of, I guess, what you call origin films, not fleshing out all that origin stuff.
Yep.
You don't need to. It's
Yep.
it's there in the universe for you to go find out about afterwards.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to go. Just tell a Black Panther story.
Yep.
Don't go into the origins. I mean,
Yep.
the origins have kind of been told in
Yeah.
Civil War anyway, really, in a way, in this sense. But the actual real origin stories and how it all pans out and what his purposes
Yep.
are and what his motives are, they're all in the comic books.
Yeah.
Go and buy a comic book. It's 99 cents. Like,
Just look up Wikipedia.
yeah, just look at Wikipedia, read it, watch some videos on YouTube, and you're done. You can pick up.
They could even do a montage intro.
Yeah. There's no. And that was part of my problem with Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
Going through that origins again of
But
Batman.
everybody knows about Batman, exactly.
Like, why waste that
Yeah.
time? It was already a long film.
Yeah.
Get rid of that shit.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen the origins of Batman? It's crazy. Anyway.
Oh, and did you notice that Scarlet Witch had an American accent in this movie?
Yes. Don't know what that's about, yeah.
How did that happen?
But that's fine. I mean, they can do that. That's okay.
She moved to America and she got an American accent.
Yeah, well, these things happen.
Yeah.
These things happen.
Lost my Russian accent.
I lost my Russian accent. I'm now speaking Scottish.
I lost my Russian accent.
I lost my Russian accent. Anyway, I guess there's one, from a technical point of view, there's one part of the film which, and it's about halfway through, that scene in the tunnel when Winter Soldier's running away from the explosion.
And it looks like they're gliding along the road.
It's like they're running on ice.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going, how big was your budget? You can't make them look like they're running fast.
Just make them run fast. That's it.
It's like,
just run fast.
It is so, it takes you out of the realism of the film so badly that it's just, they do better. Just watch The Flash on TV.
Yeah.
They do it perfectly every week. How can they not get it right here? It's
just
unbelievable.
Just run like Tom Cruise runs in Mission Impossible.
I don't know how they got that wrong. I don't know how they sat there and watched it and said, yeah, that's good enough.
I think they wanted to make them look like super soldiers because they didn't want them to make it look like a normal person running.
But
yeah,
it just took away that realism that really got my goat.
I think they wasted the crossbones a bit too.
Yeah,
that was a waste.
Yeah, so it's just that.
But I enjoyed it more than Batman vs Superman.
So did I.
Yeah.
So did I.
Much
like
more.
Batman and Superman to me is like 4.5.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So this is I probably when I go 6.5, 7. But that's probably what I would have rated the other Avengers films, except for obviously the first one. The very first Avengers film.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that one. Yeah. So, but then again, the best fight scene in any Marvel film is obviously the Battle of New York. So, so that in terms of scale and how they filmed it was amazing, which is what is such a contrast to this. Yeah. All through the film, as they build up their teams, you build up to this fight. Yeah. And then it's in this empty freaking airport in the middle of nowhere. Felt like it was filmed on a GoPro.
But did they evacuate the airport? They did, yeah?
Yeah, I think they kind of did. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah.
Which even made it worse. Because now it's like there's no threat to anyone. Like there's nothing there. And then everything was freaking zoomed in. Like, my biggest...
Giant man.
Where I got really angry was there's this moment in the battle where Ant-Man goes big. Yeah. Giant Ant-Man. Yeah. But he's kind of in the background of all the shots rather than being in the foreground. And he's kind of... His head's cut off, his legs are cut off.
There was no full shot of him.
Just zoom back, show the scale of giant Ant-Man in the fight.
Yeah.
And it's just shit. It's just like, you built up to this. Show me scale. You showed me scale in the Battle of New York. Do it again.
Wasn't he supposed to be as big as buildings?
Yeah, he was gigantic. He was huge.
No, like but he was just a bit slightly taller than the plane, wasn't he?
No. He was massive.
Yeah?
He he went giant Ant-Man.
Okay.
Not that you know it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I didn't feel that.
Yeah, you didn't feel it. Yeah, exactly. And then also all the fights were kind of, they seemed a little bit siloed off into like a particular hangar or just a little area, and it's kind of like, why are they fighting one another? Like, why does Ant-Man? I can't remember who Ant-Man fought.
Yeah.
I think it was Scarlett Johansson's character. I can't remember.
And then he fights Spider-Man with his giant man.
Yeah.
And he does the AT-AT thing.
And it's just, it's like, are they actually gonna destroy one another when they've got no real reason to do it? It's
like when Hawkeye was fighting Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, and they kind of stopped. And
we're still friends, aren't we?
Yeah. That was one of the shitty things too. It kind of broke the entire. It showed that there's no motivation for the two to actually be battling. There's no motivation for the two teams to be battling.
The final fight, I felt.
Oh, with
the three of them,
that was perfect.
Like where he raises the shield, I actually genuinely thought that he was gonna break his, chop his head off with the shield.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was fully intense. Yeah. So
it should have been like that, like a climactic fight.
Yeah, exactly right. But that's what it felt like when they went from that battle to the battle between. That's when you felt the real disconnect between the teams. And, like, that was just fluff and junk. Yeah. Like, it was no point to it. Because despite the little CGI things earlier in the film, I thought it was building to something epic.
Yep.
And then it didn't. That battle between the two teams wasn't epic.
Yep.
And then they tried to bring it back with a brilliant, although it was relatively short fight between Captain America and Iron Man. And it's very intense, and there was a point there where you thought actually Iron Man was going to be destroyed by Captain America.
Decapitated.
Yeah, so that was a very good part of the film, but it was so let down by what had happened in the previous half an hour that you kind of judge the entire, like, you know what? He's not going to kill Iron Man. Like, it's just not going to happen, and it's kind of like, I don't know.
And then he sends him an old Motorola cell phone.
Oh, God. Yeah. Anyway, it's just
Tony Stank.
Yeah. So you kind of left. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're left with this thing saying, I've watched a prequel to an Avengers film, and I've watched an Origins film for Black Panther, and I've watched an Origins film for Spider-Man and Black Panther, maybe 15, 20 minutes each.
Yeah, Spider-Man would have had about 20 minutes.
It's just no fulfillment out of the film at all, like other than the enjoyment of it being an Avengers film, and that's pretty much the problem with it all. Now, one thing we need to talk about in terms of obviously Black Panther and Spider-Man is there are end credit scenes in this film.
Yep, there's two.
There is
one right after the movie ends.
One right after the movie ends where Captain America, Black Panther put Bucky into a cryogenic freeze. Because he's worried that he doesn't know where his mind will take him. So he decides to put himself
And he's lost
away.
his arm.
Yeah, he lost his middle arm, but I'm sure they'll build a new one and whack it on. So he goes into freeze. So he's away. I'm sure
in Wakanda.
He will return.
Yep.
And then they cut away to Black Panther's there with the big panther there. So
it felt like Jungle Book for a second.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was really good. And then
right at the end
of all the, I was actually out at that point and had to come back.
Okay.
Because I thought I was having one credits and I actually didn't check before.
Okay.
I went in, and there's a chance that these end credits may be different in different regions, apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
So they might change or add an extra end scene into the credits in the US market. There might be something extra in there,
like a third credit scene.
That's what's been rumored. So
okay,
don't know. But the other credit scene is a Spider-Man one right at the end of the film.
Yeah,
he's in his bedroom playing with the new outfit that Tony Stark.
It's created for him, and he's got some kind of.
He's got his
encrypted message that he.
Yeah. he puts the spider symbol
Yeah.
up on the roof, and
Aunt May tries to comfort
Aunt
him.
May comes in. Why have you got a black eye?
Yeah.
And,
Was it a bully at school?
Yeah. So, yeah, at the end of the film, it's kind of like the spider signal showing up in the ceiling,
Yep.
and Spider-Man's coming soon.
Yeah.
So, those are the two end scenes. Both of them are good, which kind of also reiterates what we said before, that a chunk of that 2.5 hours is short prequels to the later films, and pretty much all the characters in there is all for Ant-Man 2 and whatever else is going to come out. It's an ad with a slither of a story, maybe 45 to 50 minutes, which is very good with Captain America, Iron Man, and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
That's kind of the summation of the entire film. Overall, it's pretty well acted.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any acting problems in it.
I didn't like
But the direction
the
of
Falcon. I didn't like his acting. I don't know.
Yeah.
He didn't do his lines. It was too well. It was a bit cheesy.
Well, I think they're always. I think him and War Machine.
Paul Rudd is always like.
Yeah.
That's him. Like.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tony Stark. Nothing can compare to him.
No, he's pivotal to the role. Actually, the one bit of CGI which was very good was, early on in the film when
how did it?
When there's young Tony Stark, I was like, wow, that looks so good.
Was that makeup or was that?
I think it was CGI. I think it was him, and they just
CGI'd his
face. His face into like a young.
That was like.
Yeah.
If you looked at his arms, it was even like skinny. Like oh shit.
I was like, wow, they've done an amazing job there. I guess they spent all that money and forgot about the running. Ted Parker, we haven't got any budget there. Just let them slide.
Yeah.
So that was really good. Enjoyed that. But
overall, I enjoyed it.
It's a good film to watch. Yeah. Like it is more enjoyable than Batman versus Superman.
He's stuck in a glass case of emotion.
Jim Bob he's
come back in.
He's stuck to the wall trying to listen to our spoilers. He's coming in.
He's back.
He's coming in. Yeah. So do check this film out.
Yep.
I think if nothing else, you'll have a good little experience with Spider-Man.
You'll definitely enjoy it.
And Black Panther.
Yep.
It's worth the money.
Yep.
Can't say that about Batman versus Superman.
Superman.
Batman
Matt
versus
Damon.
Superman.
Matt Damon.
Did Ryan balls off with the dryer?
No, I came up with an idea for a rug.
Yeah.
But by day, it looks like a normal rug. This is with wifey.
Yeah.
But by night time, you can switch the rug on and it turns into a Saturday Night Fever dance floor rug. What do you think?
What do you mean?
Because we're just
How does it look during the day?
like normal, like you wouldn't even know.
Like what's like that kind of rope?
Yeah. But at night
So
time,
not like a shag pile type thing.
possibly.
How are you going to get the shag pile to light up?
Well, there could be like those glow in the dark sticks and stuff.
Oh, like the light that comes through. Like
Yeah. Because that's quite soft on the skin, and it means you could dance with your feet at night time in your living room.
in your slippers,
or your mockies.
in your slippers.
Took my tongs off.
Yeah.
No, it's just that
I can't go back to KFC. Got my slippers and
actually we've got a bit of a rave going on in the living room. I can't go back to KFC.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was actually when we were in J-Car the other day. I went down the back. I looked at all their fog machines and
I need a fog machine.
and there was a snow machine. Yeah.
What, for indoors?
Yeah. Like
Indoor snow machine.
Like you.
What, Aurora Borealis?
Borealis.
In your living room.
There's a snow machine there. I don't know what you need to put in to make snow.
Imagine if you could project the Aurora Borealis on your wall from a small projection device. That'd be quite nice. Instead of the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, you've got the Aurora Borealis slowly...
Means you wouldn't need to go to Iceland. You can keep your balls dry.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to be back. We're going to take a break and we're going to finish up. Me, Jim, Bob and Jono going to talk about an all-time film classic that probably not enough people has watched. The Last Starfighter.
You have been recruited by the Starfighter. Defend the frontier against sword and the golden armada.
Welcome back, Rebel Scum. We're here now. We're going to finish off on a little bit of film flashback, all the way back into the early 80s. 1984, this was released the year after Return of the Jedi. The film is The Last Starfighter.
Come on, Alex, they're here!
Alex Rogan had a dream.
You really are leaving here, aren't you?
To be as far away from here as possible.
You get your chance. When it comes, you gotta grab it with both hands.
It started with a game.
You gonna bust the record.
But it wasn't just any game.
You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada.
And then one night...
Centauri's the name. We have to talk about a matter of utmost importance. Step into my office. I've seen him come and I've seen him go, but you're the best, my boy. Light years ahead of the competition.
Then... Alex didn't find his dream.
Hey, look out! Oh, dear. Hey.
His dream found him.
Where are we? Welcome to Rylos, my boy.
A world on the brink of destruction.
You were recruited by the Star League to
defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada.
Of all the life forms, on all the planets, in all the galaxies.
Oh my God!
One has been chosen. Alex Rogan.
Alex?
I'm Alex.
Is the last Starfighter. For every Earthling who's ever imagined traveling beyond the stars.
Maybe there is a Starfighter left.
I love you, Alex Rogan.
Comes the unforgettable story of one who made it. The last Starfighter.
Now, my brethren here, Jonathan and Jim Bob, had not seen The Last Starfighter, which
I'd seen the first 5 minutes a long time ago, and
which is which is one of my favourite films of all time as a youngster.
When did you first see it?
I actually saw it in the cinema.
Oh, gee.
I actually saw it in the cinema.
See, I was only 4 or 5 years old at the time.
I saw it in Croydon Twin. I was 8 or 9.
I was 4 years old, so yeah.
Because I remember I went through. There's a magazine I've got at home, which I've still got.
Yeah.
It's called Movie 1985. It's like a preview to all the upcoming movies of 1985. I think maybe Ghostbusters or something is in it. I can't remember what else is in it.
Is that
it's not Ghostbusters. It's something else.
Is it in good condition?
It's in perfect condition.
Oh,
I'll bring it in.
shit.
Gremlins is in it. Now, well, most of the guys that I think did the graphics, and got to remember, like the guys at The Last Starfighter, the special effects team used a Cray supercomputer and rang it to the edges of its capability to generate the graphics which were used in that film.
Because while they were doing the graphics, the rendering the graphics, they were still figuring out stuff.
Yeah. So it was all done off the fly. No one had done it before. So, but this was also, from my understanding, a lot of these guys who worked on the computer graphics and all that kind of stuff on Last Starfighter later went on to work on projects at ILM.
Yeah,
and you could say that this film was a pioneer in.
Yeah, this was a pioneer in terms of CGI in films. Like, it's the first time like Star Wars trilogy obviously used a lot of models to use the spaceships and stuff. So all the spaceships in Last Starfighter, including the Gunstar and all the enemy fighters and command ships, they were all done in CGI. Even like the bases that are on the planets that you see when they're flying in, that's all CGI as well.
But what's nice about all that is that they all show the background of someone actually sat down and drew all of the ships perfectly, beautifully.
And the good part of it is, even today now when you're watching it, even though you realise that it's not up to scratch, it still even now doesn't break the reality of the film in a way. It's still okay. You accept it for what it is.
Yeah. You know what I felt at the end of it? I felt like I was watching a film from the 80s with graphics from the 90s.
Yeah.
Which is hard to fathom if you were from that time.
Yeah.
But seeing it as a fully grown adult, knowing where Jar Jar Binks has come, how far we've come from Jar Jar Binks since Jar Jar Binks, is that we've come a hell of a long way. So much so that even just, Netflix stuff, iTunes, like stuff that Trish likes to watch with all the Hobbit stuff.
Yep.
Hobbit.
Like that stuff is so hyper real now, it's really hard to pick.
Yeah.
But this is different. This is 80s looking, but strangely. What was those 90s space shows, Stargate, and it had a bit of like
Stargate
that.
Atlantis, all the Star Treks.
The like Star Trek Voyager and that had that kind of graphics. And it's like, gee, didn't come very far, did we? But
no. But so let's quickly go over the storyline of what Last Starfighter is. So Last Starfighter centers around a character called Alex Rogan, played by Lance Guest. So you may know Lance Guest from not much else.
Yeah, pretty much.
From his Oscar-nominated role of...
His hobo beard didn't really sell him as
on the DVD Blu-ray release of this film, there's a brilliant 35-40 minute making of documentary, which is equally
pretty good for DVD.
And you'll see, if you think Anakin Skywalker, if you think Hayden Christensen's a bit awkward, even though he's not actually that awkward in the film.
I know, that's the weird part.
But his auto cue work in the making of is kind of got strange pauses in it.
And it's like he forgot how grammar worked. Is there a comma there? Did we put a comma in the auto cue?
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Fuck you, Sam. So
maybe it was just masterful editing in the film stage where they had to fix up all of his strange pauses.
I think maybe he just hadn't worked in a while as an actor.
He'd forgotten his craft.
And I'm not bagging Lance Guest because he is obviously a key role in one of my favourite films.
He's so baby-faced in that movie too.
Yeah, he's actually kept himself pretty young looking, actually.
Which is a bit different from the animators who had that long blonde bleached hair and the mop hanging off the why have you got a big beard plus a mop on your head? Like, well, how does that work? Do you get chicks? Does that work for you?
Anyway, so Alex Rogan, played by Lance, is a teenager living in a trailer park on the outskirts of a major city in the US with his mum and his little brother. Anyway, at this trailer park, there's a game up at the office at the front called Last Starfighter, which you play is kind of, I guess, into maybe think of it in real terms of games which people out there may have played. If you look back to maybe the original wireframe Star Wars game where it's like the trench run type game, that's kind of
which I missed in my era of gaming because they weren't. I know those machines existed, but they're very hard to find. But playing them on the emulators, it's like, whoa. They were whoa.
So that's kind of a similar thing. So it was an arcade machine.
Which is pretty, when you think about the fact that it's a trailer park in the middle of nowhere, it's pretty nice to have that caliber of a machine. Not just some Borry, Pac-Man sort of thing. It was like...
Not Frogger.
It wasn't Frogger.
No. Not that it's anything bad with Frogger.
No, I'm not saying that.
But just in comparison to... Yeah. It's damn good. So anyway, the premise of the game is you go... Defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada, who are the villains of the piece in this film. So it's effectively in Star Wars terms, it's Darth Vader and the Empire.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we're talking about. So anyway, he ends up getting the highest score on this video game after playing it for a long time. Anyway, what this actually does
over 900,000.
It sends a message off to the game maker that's across the galaxy. His name is Centauri, played by Robert Preston, which is an actor that people may well know. So Robert Preston, who plays Centauri, comes to see Alex Rogan and kind of tricks him to come with him, not knowing really where he's going. Anyway,
he trapped him in a car.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
He trapped him in the car.
It was an Uber.
That goes to 330 k's an hour.
Anyway, I'm not going to ruin the end of the film, but needless to say, the game is a test to find Last Starfighters, who are effectively like rebel pilots, X-wing pilots, like Star Wars universe level, and they are used to go off and fight Zura and the Kodan Armada. Anyway, adventures they go on and it ensues, and I won't tell the end because I want you to go watch this film. What it is. Needless to say, there's some good fun in there with characters like Greg, who's his co-pilot. Kind of like a fun dynamic between those two.
He's the highlight for me.
Kind of like the grizzled old coach.
He's like the character from Rebels.
He's
the older guy with the
with the little guy. So it's kind of a little bit of a rollicking type of adventure. It doesn't really slow down too much, and it's good. And it's a good like most stories and scripts from like that time. It's got that kind of happy ending type of feel to it. That
80s,
without 80s. It being like a Disney film, it's kind of that end to it.
But that's what 80s films were like.
Like it's got a common.
The good guy wins.
Yeah, the good guy wins. But everyone knows that anyway.
The music score was phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key points. I think
it wasn't John Williams, but it was up there.
I felt like I was 8 years old again, and I was on the couch, and
but it sounded like computer game music a little bit, but with the kind of operatic, keeping pace with the the action side of the film. So
like it was just one theme where he sped it up, or he either brought it down for like the happy ending.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know what you guys would rate this film. It's got when I hear the soundtrack to Last Starfighter, it has almost the exact same effect of me in terms of excitement and anticipation that the Star Wars one does.
And Superman, the original.
I don't like
No, but the Superman intro from Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve, yeah.
Christopher Reeve era.
That one.
Yeah, but still, it's to me like it's still like Last Starfighter to me is a better film than any other Superman films.
Yep.
Like it's good. Like to me, like Last Starfighter is 8.5 when you consider everything. I know other people won't rate it that highly, but to me it is.
It's one of those things that's benefited from when you watch it when you're young.
Yes.
Because
that is a nostalgia factor.
Because really the only other spacey things at the time that you were exposed to was Star Wars.
Probably back then you'd have Star Wars.
Star Trek.
You'd have a little bit of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Back then, trying to think what else you may have had. Probably Space Pirates.
Space Pirates.
You mean Ice Pirates?
Ice Pirates, sorry.
See, because I saw that when I was a kid, it meant a lot more to me back then. Yeah. But obviously, as a fully grown adult, you go, oh, gee, what the hell?
Yeah, I think probably, that'd be pretty close.
Total Recall.
Like, I guess in terms, you probably would have experienced a bit of TV in terms of Battlestar Galactica TV series.
Yeah.
And also the Buck Rogers TV.
Yeah, but Battlestar Galactica was more towards the end of the 70s, though, wasn't it? Early 80s.
There's a couple of Battlestar Galactica films which I think came out 80, 81.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in terms of it still being current in terms of a TV show, it was still getting played a lot.
I suppose Logan's Run.
Logan's Run, yeah.
Which I didn't see until I was older.
And even though
I think they're making a remake for that. Logan's Run.
They are too. Yeah. And even though it's probably a bit older around this time, like 2001: A Space Odyssey was still at that time for sci-fi fans,
but
young sci-fi fans.
That's in a class
mind-bending.
That's in a class of its own, though.
Yeah, for sure. So probably Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, the TV shows.
Yeah,
I tried to watch again last year.
Bit hard. Yeah.
I didn't realize how incredibly, what's the word for it? Just incredibly.
What was the one with the robot emergency? What was that show?
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. Yeah. So that was.
So you watch that. You watch that now, and it's cringy.
Yeah, well, that's what Buck Rogers is as well.
Yeah,
except for the space battle scenes.
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica is still good.
Yeah.
I think that's because the heroes in there.
Flash Gordon.
And my brother had a figurine from Battlestar Galactica.
The original Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, so it's about 30 centimeters tall. It's all black, but it's got the silver head with the eye. What are they called?
The Cylons.
Cylons, yeah. Amazing.
As good as Stormtroopers, those.
Yeah, up there with Stormtroopers, definitely.
Amazing.
Was Flash Gordon 80s?
Flash Gordon the movie?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I love
it. Would have been about the same time.
Okay, all right. I'll say this.
Yeah.
I'll say Battlestar. The Last Starfighter. If I rewatch it again, I'll remember all the alien names and stuff and people. But I can see it falling into the same love that I would have for things like Short Circuit.
Yep.
Daryl.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Goonies. It's in the because Goonies is like that's what we were 10 years old.
Yeah.
Goonies was like the best thing ever.
Yes.
Pirate, pirate adventure. You don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah. Early Indiana Jones too, obviously, because that was all happening at that same time.
Agreed.
So but it's annoying because I feel like Last Starfighter feels a bit lost in the ether of the JB Hi-Fi DVD collection, and it's one of those things that I think kind of might fall to the bottom of the shelf.
Yeah, I think here it probably did because Last Starfighter is on like the free-to-air channels a lot.
Oh, is it?
Like at late night on like Go?
But what?
7 Mate or something.
Not like 2 o'clock in the morning though, is it?
No, like 11 to 1 or something.
Oh, but even so, that's still.
Yeah.
That's not a. That's too late.
No, it's if they played that, and it's unfortunate that the owners of the rights to I can't remember their name now to The Last Starfighter, Steven Spielberg went to try and buy them last year to either make a sequel or a remake.
Yeah,
and they've just gone. We're never
get stuff.
We're never releasing this to remake it to do anything with it. it is what it is and it's staying what it is. That's the film.
Yeah.
So they're not going to do a George Lucas and revamp it or anything. That's what the film is. That's the way it was supposed to be made. And that's how we make it. Which was great to hear. In modern day Hollywood, it's very easy to say, you can buy it, I don't care. Similar.
Just give me a couple of million.
So there's only really, I suppose, I've heard that last Starfighter and Back to the Future, I suppose. Yeah. They're the only ones that they've said, no, we're not doing anything.
Robert Zemeckis has the rights.
Yeah. It would really ruin Back to the Future if you redid it. It's just beyond.
Well, I think one day they probably should. One day.
No,
but I said this last time we mentioned that on the podcast. I argued that if they're going to play with Back to the Future again, create a new story using the DeLorean and go from there. Don't try and replay someone as Marty McFly.
No.
No.
Maybe Marty McFly's kids, maybe get them involved with the DeLorean.
I'm in the greens for that.
But don't rehash the same.
No, you need a movie. You need a new Back to the Future.
Needs a new arc.
You need a new Back to the Future movie.
Yeah.
But
not a rehash, not a remake.
No, just like a Back to the Future for a new era.
Yeah.
Like completely new and fresh and whatever.
For the hipsters.
For the hipsters, yeah. For the people.
I just want a latte.
I guess for the generation who sit there and see a film where they're traveling future to 2015 and don't see any mobile phones and don't see any of that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like it's kind of like a break from reality.
Spielberg couldn't predict everything. Like, he got a lot of the bits.
No, but I think, like, if you're moving into the future in the next 10, 15 years, I think there needs to be a new age of Back to the Future for a new audience in 10 years' time or something. I think the classic gloss will have worn off by then.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll be. I think the guys that are our age, there won't be enough haters online to really. Like, we won't be doing this podcast when we're 60. Like, there'll be a new age of haters. Well, we could be hating on Back to the Future in 20 years.
Our AI subjugated consciousnesses.
Yeah, it'll just be us. It'll just be like in future
podcasting.
Just be our heads in the jar.
In a jar.
Doing a podcast.
Yeah. And if we just if we want to interview Mark Wahlberg, his jar head will get drone lifted to our studio where we record it. And yeah, it's never ending podcasting.
Anyway, boys, how many Lance guests do you give this out of 10?
I want to watch it again. But if I was 10 years old, I'd and I was,
which is probably the correct way to spell it,
doe-eyed, and young and naive or whatever,
which is how I still treat it.
And and only having probably seen Star Wars and that once or twice, it's up there with Short Circuit, as in expectation of what it was. But as an adult, seeing 90s graphics in an 80s movie kind of weirded me out a little bit. I didn't know what I was looking at. But it's just in a fascinating way, not in a strange way.
Yeah. Give me a score.
We had a bloody review.
All right. I'll go 8.
So you said 8. 8. So you rated it as 8.
Yes, I did.
8 out of 10. So that's good. Jono, what's your rating? And what do you think of the film overall, just in your own mind, in comparison to other films you've seen like Star Wars and Short Circuit and Mac and Me? And
you just took me. Mac and Me.
It's got a McDonald's dancing scene. Don't knock it.
I like it because it just...
Maybe Spaceballs.
From the moment the music started, it just took me way back.
Yeah.
Back to the 90s when I was watching Page Master, which you guys haven't seen.
Page Master, yeah, we've got to see that.
Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, it was
never ending story.
I haven't seen that.
It gave me this nostalgic feel, like where you were a kid on the couch watching with the parents, and it just gave me this cozy feeling inside. Like,
there's something about it aside from Star Wars where, it lets you. I think it'd let me enjoy games better when I was a kid. You think, what if I'm playing Space Harrier here or something, and Centauri comes and taps me on the shoulder, and I'm going to get taken away to.
Yeah, it was that feeling. Yeah.
Or what if you're at Burke Street time zone when you're
in
15? No, 15 years.
Up by Will Ferrell.
No.
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake, baby. No. Because I remember when we'd go see movies in Burke Street in the city.
Yeah.
Time Zone was on the corner of Russell and Burke.
Yeah.
But I remember going there one time and they had a Sega Afterburner.
Oh, Afterburner.
Arcade machine that was a capsule that you could sit in and you'd have your own joystick and play a pretty crappy Sega game. Easy to play on a control pad. But this thing, you sat in the console with all of the special space chair and the Harrier jet chair and the whole thing would move around pneumatically with, it was making all the noises.
Yeah.
Man, that's the way to play Afterburner.
Yeah.
And then, next minute, Air Force Australia is tapping you on the shoulder.
You're off.
And you're off dropping bombs in Cooper Pedy.
Cooper Pedy.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You're out in the test range. So,
7. I get a 7.
7?
Yep.
8
and a half. If you can get a copy of this wherever you can. You can get it online at Amazon,
iTunes.
I reckon the actual documentary of the film, 37 minutes, I think it is actually on YouTube. If you look for it, it's called The Last Frontier: The Making of the Last Starfighter. Whatever. Brilliant to watch. If you watch that before the film, you'll get a full film of actually how important this film is overall for the development of film itself and what we enjoy today as sci-fi fans. So that's the end of this podcast, episode 12. Got 2 more episodes to go for this season 1.
Yep.
Got episode 13 and 14 in 2 weeks' time.
Right.
So then we'll be taking a month hiatus and then coming back with a brand new set of podcasts with some interviews from
Submission
around the globe. And our first episode back, we're going to have a special bumper episode with the guys from Submission Radio. Check them out at submissionradio.com. Awesome. They probably make the best MMA. Well, it's not probably. It is the best MMA podcast in the world. But they also love their comic books and sci-fi and films. We're going to have a good time, the 5 of us sitting around here.
They can play ball.
They can
play ball.
Man, those cats can ball. Those cats can ball. Yeah. Great podcast. You can check it out, submissionradio.com. They're on Soundcloud and everything as well. We also use their articles on our websites for the UFC news, and you can listen to the podcast there as well. But that's enough for this week. We'll see you next week. And we'll see you then. I'm talking in Lance Guest auto cue.
Purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Films,
Lake Minnetonka. Man, they kick a ball.
That's how films are made. And yes,
this is why we never made a sequel. We'll catch you later, guys.
Yeah.
Frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready. Prepare for blast off.
Okay, let's go.
Alex Rogan had a dream.
You really are leaving here, aren't you?
To be as far away from here as possible.
You get your chance. When it comes, you gotta grab it with both hands.
It started with a game.
You're gonna bust the record!
But it wasn't just any game.
You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada.
All by myself.
Don't wanna be
all by myself.
Self? Do not want to be.
Dread of Fortress.
Oh, sorry, Yoda. You went to Dagobah. you by yourself. Karaoke I play all the time. Self I am by myself.
Create a fortress for me, you will. My torch. My joy.